Hello everybody, this is Howard the Teaser King coming to you with a free teaser pick for Pro Football Week 2. Had a very strong week last week, hit my one end of the lock in college, Washington State, beating San Jose State, and I lost with Notre Dame, laying my I can't remember the line, 20 something, as they threw 3 interceptions. So that happens. Again, I was betting against Ball State as well as Notre Dame, thinking their defense would shut them out. In the pros, I didn't have a lock. I do have a lock this week, very strong lock. I love the 2 games that, so it's really 2 locks. You can play them in multiple teasers. You can play them, if you bought my whole package, there's 4 locks. You can play a 4-team teaser with the 4 locks and get great odds, or play 3-team teasers, or play your picks with the 4. I'll probably play a 5 or 6-team teaser with my 4 locks, and I have a lot of strong games in college. I got about 7 or 8 in the pros. Very, very strong game. So who do I want to give here? Let's see. Who do I want to give? I'm going to give... Let's go with New Orleans and Cleveland for a couple reasons. So we get into the numbers. Now there's several factors. The first factor is New Orleans puts up 40 points on Tampa last week, as well as, they give up 48. So you're wondering is what's going on with their defense. But what I like about this pick, they did get 480 yards on Tampa Bay. Cleveland's defense, they played Pitt. Pitt got 500 yards of offense against Cleveland. The problem was that they got 8 turnovers in the game. Now, the line here is New Orleans at 8.5 and over under 49. So I don't think Cleveland scores enough to go over with the game. I'm not taking New Orleans under, which leaves you with the side. As long as that spread's 8.5, I like New Orleans laying the 2.5. The biggest reason is they can't afford to go 0-2. And they're too good of a team to go 0-2. I don't know what happened to their defense last week against Tampa. Nobody could cover Deshaun Jackson. I just think that's a case of a team and a coach not playing enough in the preseason, and they get burnt. Even though Breeze was brilliant, he didn't have a problem. Their defense was terrible. Nobody was covering Deshaun Jackson like nobody knows he's good. And maybe they were let down because it was Ryan Fitzpatrick as opposed to Winston. But with that said, New Orleans cannot go 0-2. So let's look at the numbers. They got 500 yards of offense last week. We know they got Drew Brees. Cleveland gave up 500, so their defense is not, they're a weak defensive team. If I look at the numbers, so this is last year plus the week 1. New Orleans at home is 8-1 as a home favorite, 15-4 overall. Yeah, they lost to Tampa, but all that does is piss them off. I can't see them at home. You're not going to be playing in a rainstorm. I don't see them, I see them angry for blood here. They're not going to go 0-2. They know they can get to the Super Bowl. They were so close last year. They should have, had they beat Minnie, they'd have given Philadelphia all they wanted. That defense was strong. They were balanced, and Drew Brees was on fire. So they came back against Minnie. They would not have just gotten killed against Philly. So you have a strong home favorite, and let's go to Cleveland. We know the story. They're now 17-0, bet against, because Pitt was laying 3, so they got 3 or 2.5. Game ended in a tie. You get 8 turnovers and you only scored 21 points. There's a problem there. Cleveland 8-0 as a road dog, 17-0 against. Now, is Cleveland getting better? Yeah, maybe when Baker Mayfield enters. I don't know about Tyrod Taylor, that they're going to just eat him up. Let's go back to 2016 and 2017 in week 1. New Orleans 12-3 as a home favorite, 29-6. That's 83% overall. 12-3 bet against as a home favorite. So they pretty much play games. They win by 7. They win by 10. They cover, but the other team covers too. And again, Cleveland 8-8 as a road dog, 16-0 bet against as a road dog, 32-1 bet against. So it's hard to ignore that. It's hard not to take a look at Cleveland. We go back to 15. New Orleans struggled that year, only 15-6 as a home favorite, 17-4 bet against. So they lost a few home games, but I think they had injuries or it was a bad year. 15. But Cleveland 12-12 as a road dog, 22-2, 92% bet against as a road dog, 44-5 bet against since 2015. So it's 90% just if you bet against them, 92% as the road dog. Is Cleveland better? Do they have better talent? The one common denominator I see is they still have one of the worst head coaches in the league. You get 8 turnovers and you can't win the game. That was the game they were going to win. They missed a field goal. Pitt missed a field goal. That's the thing with Roethlisberger. He did that against the Bears last year. He went to Chicago and threw 5-6 interceptions, and they lost at Chicago to a far inferior team. And they bounced back, but their defense is terrible, and I'm not sold on there. Let's see. Well, Cleveland got 375 yards in the rain with 8 turnovers, so I don't know. But I'm not a Tyrod Taylor fan. Let's go to some of the stats. Let's go to the quarterback stats. So let's look. Tyrod Taylor, here he is. He's 15 out of 40. Good God. 15 complete, 40 attempts. 37%, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. So what this tells me, this guy's now he wants to run. He's more of a running quarterback. He thinks he's playing in college. And this was my knock on him the whole time is he's not a very good quarterback, but he runs with the ball. So it's up to New Orleans to put a spy on him, a safety or something to cover him. The only guy in Cleveland I worry about is Josh Gordon, which he'll score a little, I'm sure. Drew Brees, number 1 rated quarterback. Well, not number 1 rated, that was Fitzpatrick, but most yards, 439. 37 of 45, 82%, 439, and they lose the freaking game. 3 touchdowns and no interceptions. This was my only loser last week, was New Orleans laying against Tampa. I think I laid 2 or 3 in that game. And I see the spread and I know where it's going. So after you watch this video, I would get in on New Orleans before they hit 3, before they hit 9. And if they do go to 9, then buy the half a point, get it under 3. Although I don't think it's going to matter in this game. I'm just looking at New Orleans having that fire in their eyes, can't lose. Cleveland, we tied, so they're happy. And now they go on the road. It's not going to be raining, which is definitely helping Cleveland. Okay, Myles Garrett, the defensive end, I don't know. He was there last year. I know their offensive line stinks, Cleveland's. So let's look on their running. Who's New Orleans? Kamara didn't do much because they were behind and Brees was throwing the ball all over. So let's look at Cleveland's runner. I thought Tyrod Taylor was their leading runner. This is professional football. He was the leading runner at 77 yards. What kind of crap is that? And he had one of the touchdowns on a run. So he runs the ball, and they're just, you don't keep up. I mean, it's impossible to keep up with New Orleans when your quarterback's running. Whenever you watch a game and you see the quarterback run, not scramble, not like Roethlisberger who scrambles around but he's going to throw. Anytime you see a quarterback run, that team's going to lose 99% of the time, unless it's Ohio State where he's supposed to run. But if the quarterback goes back and the intent is he's going to throw and he runs, that team doesn't have a chance. It's very difficult to win because you're not using your receivers, and it just shows you the quarterback's bad because he doesn't know how to throw the ball. He doesn't know how to throw his receivers open. He doesn't know how to read a defense. And I'm sure New Orleans will settle down. I'm sure they're pissed. So the basis is New Orleans is pissed off. They're a good home favorite. They're good, at least last year, 15-4 against the number. 8-1 is a home favorite. And Cleveland, I mean, now they're on the road in a dome, in a pissed-off dome after a loss. So I just, my thought is good luck on that. I just think it's from lack of the training of all these guys sitting out for the whole freaking preseason. And that's part of it. And you got injuries and stuff like that. Let me quickly go through some key teaser trends that I have. Philadelphia is 19-1 in a teaser the last 20, and they did cover against Atlanta. New York Jets are 15-2 in a teaser. What a game that was. Now, I don't expect Darnell to do that again against Miami. I'm not a big Miami fan. But I am, I do. Here's the Jets, and it's all been as a dog. They have not been a home favorite at all last year. They're 8-0 as a home dog, 6-1 as a road dog. So, as a dog, they stay close because obviously they didn't win that many games. San Diego, 14-3 in a teaser, very strong. And the play against, see, that's all that's very strong last year. Minnie was 15-4. 79%, but not over the top. Bet against the Giants, 14-3. Bet against Tennessee, 16-3. Bet against Cleveland, 17-0. And bet against Oakland is now 15-2, 88%. Bet against Denver, 14-3, 82%. But I look for Denver now. The reason teams are weak, we're always looking to bet against the weak, is their quarterback usually sucks and they have a bad defense. And I'm tired of these coaches babying these quarterbacks. We can't get him hurt. Then why play him in the game? He's going to get hurt in the game. I don't think they should play any of the good players in the games. That way none of them will ever get hurt. I mean, it's so incredibly stupid. I don't know what I'm listening to. This is professional football. It's a contact game. Everybody's going to get hurt. If you want to pay a guy $20 million, he's going to get hurt. Everybody did. Terry Bradshaw got hurt. Joe Montana broke his arm. They all get hurt. They all come back. That's the nature of the beast. One comment on Howie Long's comment last week. Terry Bradshaw's going, well, this is the problem when, he was marking about how they didn't play in the preseason, nobody, and they don't hit at practice. He says you gotta hit at practice, you gotta play, you gotta get the reps in because it's game speed. You can't do it in practice with no shoulder pads on and you gotta hit, you gotta tackle. It's just something you gotta do. That's football. And Howie Long goes, well, but the guys make so much money, you can't do it. And it's like, what a crybaby Howie Long is. I've lost all respect for that guy with that comment. He played. You've got to hit in practice. You've got to have preseason games. Look at it even in college. You got to have that one preseason. So maybe you don't want to play them in game 1, but game 3 and game 4 in the preseason, your players should be going at least a half. That's, the first half, the starters play in both those games. Now they're ready to play 4 quarters. How many injuries did you see? Look at Fontenot. He's out he's hurt with the hamstring. I don't expect him to do much for Jacksonville this week with the hamstring. Why did he get it? Because he's not in football shape. He can run all he wants, but until you get hit and you play, you're just not there. So anyway, that's your game this week. Take New Orleans to be pissed off. They cannot afford to go 0-2 at home against a very weak Cleveland team with a quarterback. Now, I'd be more afraid if Baker Mayfield was the quarterback because he can score points. I don't see Tyrod Taylor. Tampa, put up 48 points. Nobody saw that coming without Winston, Fitzgerald. Who the hell? They made him look like Joe Montana last year. So this is why I'm a little like, okay, New Orleans, this is, if you're going to win, this is the game you're going to win. But this is not my lock. I have 2 very strong locks going in the pros in another 5 or 6 games. So keep an eye on that. 4 locks going this week, as I said. So here you go. Take New Orleans. Get it to 2.5. They should win by about 17 to 20 points, my guess. Breeze will score. Cleveland will score a little because I don't know what this New Orleans defense. It's not like it was last year in the beginning. And I don't know if it's the one running back from Alabama is on the suspension, so they're not running the ball as much to keep the defense rested. But they got down and they had to pass. So we'll see what happens. But I expect New Orleans at home against a weak Cleveland team. Now I think Cleveland's a little stronger with the talent they have, but again, they have the worst coach one of the worst coaches. Gruden, he's not too strong either. If you notice, all the new coaches lost last week. The reason there's new coaches is because the coach doesn't play in the preseason. The teams aren't ready, and that's what happens. So that's why you lost your job, because you didn't play your players when you needed to get them ready in the preseason. They didn't hit. They didn't get involved in the game. I mean, I can't handle this. Well, we don't want to get anybody hurt. Then go play baseball or go play golf. I mean, I don't know. You get hurt in every sport. You can't try to ignore it and not get hurt because there's too much timing in football. There's too much contact. You've got to tackle. You've got to have good, crisp precision with the running backs and the quarterback and the receivers. The defense has to play together. You can't just throw them out there and have them run through practice. No, because now you're getting it. So you can't just do that. So, be careful. But I think New Orleans should handle them. But if they don't, if they give up another 40 to Cleveland, the New Orleans is now an over team and they're not a betting team. But I don't think Cleveland can score enough to go over in this game. Not with Tyrod Taylor running more than he wants to throw. When he's your leading rusher, there's a problem. All right, everybody. So www.teaserking.com. Again, 2 locks in the pros, 2 locks in the college. A lot of strong games, and I'm really on fire. 17-3 college, 5-1 in the pros. That's 22-4 in 2 weeks, and I still need a couple more weeks in the pros. What's with New Orleans? How good is the Jets? Although I don't think they're that good. Show me Miami. Show me what's going on with some of these teams, just to really get a better flavor of it. All right, everybody, have a great weekend. I wish you good luck, and I hope I make you a lot of money. I hope the video helps you make some money. So far, I'm 4-0 in my free picks, so that's why I do it, to get everybody, at least you can bet the pick and make some money. All right, everybody, take care. Have a great weekend.